Hey, somebody needs to roll their pennies. You have? Excellent. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. You are listening to The Professional Noticer. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Andrews. Hey, thank you for making me a part of your week. My purpose here today and with every show we do is to play the part of a best friend or a coach. I want to help you live the life of your wildest dreams by giving you access to the greatest mentors the world has to offer today. The Professional Noticer is sponsored this week by our friends at Tucker ATV. You know, the sheer variety of power sport products at Tucker ATV will blow your mind. Hustler turf equipment, the entire line of Echo power tools, and of course, Tucker ATV carries every make and model of Polaris ATVs. They have the Polaris side-by-sides, even bigger Ranger Cruise, and you have to see the showroom. The showroom is the deal. Taxidermy, antique displays. It has an indoor porch with a swing and comfortable chairs, television, free coffee. Stop in and meet Shannon and Lisa Tucker. They treat customers like family, which is why folks from 14 states have done business with Tucker ATV. Highway 43 North in Jackson, Alabama. Tucker ATV, the small town business with the national reputation. Observations and answers, that's what we do here on The Professional Noticer. And as you know, we love it when somebody comes to the table with both. And today, we have that definitely. And our guest is going to surprise you. The subject matter, I think, is one of a kind. And let me try to get to this by saying there are fewer than 1,000 billionaires in the United States. And our guest today has worked very closely with 4 of them and a bunch of near billionaires, but 4, somebody that has worked with 4 billionaires, that the inside, everything, seeing everything, experiencing everything, advising, helping. It's a fascinating story that is captured in this book. It's brand new, just coming out. And it's called 4 Billionaires and a Parking Attendant. And the subtitle here is Success Strategies of the Wealthy, Powerful, and the Just Plain Wise. Please welcome the author, Chris Ullman. Chris, how are you?
Well, I'm better now that I'm talking to you, Andy. So I am having a blessed day here in Alexandria, Virginia. Sunny and happy, and can't wait to have a chat with you.
Man, I appreciate you taking the time with us here. The book is beautiful, by the way. That always really means something to me because
thank you.
I'm looking at books and book covers all the time, and so the book is very striking, and the title is incredibly compelling. 4 Billionaires and a Parking Attendant. Explain the title for us.
Well, in my career here in Washington, D.C. for 35 years, I've had the chance to work with a whole array of interesting people in government, in politics, in corporate America. And the title represents 5 of those people. 4 of them, as you noted, are literally billionaires. They run private equity firms, which are big investment firms. And they're actually fairly dominant on Wall Street today. And I got to work hand in glove with these people. And then the parking attendant is this interesting kind of bookend, almost like a juxtaposition, where this gentleman parked my car every day for 4 years when I worked with the billionaires. And that lesson, hopefully we can chat about that, is about choosing to be happy, because this guy was a parking attendant and he was happy. And not all the billionaires I worked with are happy. So it's really an important lesson. And then he's the just plain wise person in the book.
I think it's very interesting that you've done this. You've worked with these people for 36 years, with these influential people powerful, wealthy, and it's amazing what you have spotted with them, I suppose. You have in this book, you have 50 stories of great decisions and 10 stories of disastrous ones. And I just think the way this has been put together, it's a story with great points. It's actually a collection of great stories. It's almost like if you're watching Entertainment Tonight or something like that, and getting the inside scoop on some of these things, and getting your observations and as well as your narration as it goes along. What was the moment for you when you realized, hey, I'm really a fly on the wall here?
Wow, that is such a great way to put it. I realized that when I was, this is pretty interesting. So I start working on Capitol Hill for a guy named John Kasich, and he's kind of the first bigwig. I bet your viewers and listeners have probably heard of him. He
Sure.
was a senior government official back in the 90s. Then he became the governor of Ohio for 8 years. Then he ran for president, written books, has TV shows and all that kind of stuff. And I remember sitting on the floor of the US House of Representatives, and my boss is up there proposing the first balanced budget for the United States in a generation. And I looked around and I just got a shiver this second, just as I did all those years ago, looking at my boss talking to the world about how we're going to propose a balanced budget. And they eventually did just a couple of years later. Took a few years to prime the pump. And I said, how is this possible that this regular kid from Long Island, New York, who kind of grew up in the minor leagues, is now in the major leagues, working for this truly great leader and learning just immense things from him? At that point, I just said, I have arrived in the major leagues and I really need to step up my game.
And what did that require you to do? When you decided, okay, I need to step up my game, where did that manifest itself?
Well, that's so important. So, and this book it's not how to be a billionaire or how to be wealthy. It's how to be your best.
Right.
It's how to be successful, however you define it. If you want to be a billionaire, fine. If you want to be a great motivational teacher, as you are, then go do it. And if your listeners, whatever your goal is, school teacher, dentist, be the best. And so these lessons, little by little, helped me to think and behave differently. They helped me understand what are the types of choices. And I know this is an important way of your philosophy, the choices that you have to make to be your best. So it really is about having purpose, like where are you actually going, and like having thought that through. Where do I want to go? And then being humble. Humble is a critical, because if you're humble, then you can learn from everyone you meet, the billionaire and the parking attendant. And then, and you know this so well, is discipline. It's all about execution in the end. If you have purpose and you have humility, then you just have to execute over and over and over and over again. And the more I spent time with these bigwigs, these billionaires and governors and chairmen of, like I work with Lou Gerstner, who is the chairman of IBM, one of the greatest CEOs in American history, to be at the foot of the master, so to speak, and absorb the way they think and behave and say, if they can do it, heck, I can do it. This is not rocket science. A lot of it's just about having purpose, humility, and discipline. And that's the key. And if you can be open-minded, you can get wisdom from all over the place.
Can you remember a time when you saw a lack of humility cause something to crash and burn?
Oh, all the time. I
Give me
mean,
an example.
I'm going to give you a pretty bold example.
Okay.
This is probably indelicate, but it's true. So at my former employer, one of the CEOs, who's not in the book, was very unhumble. And
That unhumble is arrogant, right?
yeah, incredibly arrogant. And he rejected good advice. He pushed aside the people who were there to help him. He said, it's my way or the highway. And it cost him his job. I mean, that guy.
Well, he was right. It was the highway for him.
It was, yes, it was the highway. And actually, as you noted earlier, there are these, and I've got my copy of the book right here at the back. There are these things about the things you shouldn't do. And what this guy did, let's see, first is don't be arbitrary. So he was arbitrary. The next was don't be mean. And he was particularly mean. And don't trash talk people. He did that all the time. And so, yeah, that's where arrogance is just terrible. And then you flip it. I mean, I was flying on Dave Rubenstein's jet with him one time, actually the first time ever. And he served me dinner. I mean, he's the billionaire. I assumed I would go up and prepare a little meal and give it to him. And he said, he served me. Like anyone who knows David, it's the exact opposite of arrogance. He is very focused, driven, filled with purpose. He's intense, but he's a humble person, and it's the exact opposite of arrogance. And those are the kind of people I like to be around, because they will actually engender more loyalty among the people around them than the arrogant people. Arrogant people create fear from the people around them, not loyalty. And so, yeah, arrogance is a terrible thing, and it gets between you and your objective. And because we live in a constellation, we live in a community where I help you, you help me, and we're all helping. We should be helping each other to get things done. And arrogance interrupts that relationship. And so that's why if you treat people with respect, and this book is just riddled with that, of how people treat other people with respect, you can then you can accomplish your goals, because that's really what it's about, is having purpose. Again, whatever your purpose is. And we don't want things to get in the way, and the ego and arrogance are like deal breakers. So that is the key.
I think the way you put it is a great way to remember it, that arrogance creates an atmosphere of fear, and humility creates an atmosphere of loyalty. So and incidentally, I was recently on a guy's jet who was also named David, and he served us too. He served us dinner too. It was a different David, but
that's what's interesting about some super wealthy people is that once they've arrived, they don't have to keep proving it over and over and over again. They can just let their hair down, and if anything, they're sometimes like even nicer than they were before.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Hey, listen, there is an interesting fact about you that I really want people to know, because you've written a book about it, and I want people to know this about you, and I want people to be able to get the other book too. But I guess I could introduce this part of this by saying that Chris has performed with symphony orchestras, and he has performed in the Oval Office, and he has, I think you perform Happy Birthday 650 times a year, and this performance is so incredible that Chris is in the Hall of Fame. He is the 4-time international whistling champion and is in the International Whistling Hall of Fame. That is incredible. And you got to whistle for us. You got to do something, Chris.
Well, Andy, that was the best intro ever. I love it.
Well, tell us about this.
Well, I will whistle in a moment for your listeners and viewers. And so I started whistling as a child, and my father was a pretty good whistler. He wasn't championship quality, but he loved to whistle every day. So I was exposed to it a lot as a kid. So thankfully I'm able to whistle because not everyone can whistle. And then it's like anything in life, it's what you do with it. So I actually made a point of becoming good. And I did that by just whistling a lot, getting my lips in good shape because they're muscles and they have to be conditioned properly.
Was that something you used in high school with girls saying, "No, I only want to kiss you to get my lips in shape"?
I think I tried that once and got slapped, and I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna do that again. And then so I whistle every day while delivering newspapers as a teenager. So that was like 2 hours a day. It was good practice. So I developed my repertoire in terms of the types of music, and then I developed new techniques and really developed the ability to stay in the right key and on pitch. And then I started whistling in front of audiences in college, and then open mic nights at blues clubs and doing improvisational whistling. And then I heard about the, the international whistling competition. And I thought, wow, I should do that. That would be cool. Now, the thing is, I didn't know how good I was because I'd never met a champion whistler before. So I go to this competition, and it was in North Carolina in this little town called Lewisburg for 40 years. And the first time I went was the 20th anniversary. And I actually won a prize because they have a classical division and a popular division. So I won a prize in the pop division, whistling Glenn Miller's "In the Mood," which is a great song, that jazz song. And then I thought, wow, I guess I do have some potential. So the next year, I spent the whole year practicing. And I said, I'm going to go back and win that thing. And I did. In '94, I went back. I won the championship. I was named grand champion. Then I was on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. I was on the Today Show with Katie Couric, and I did dozens and dozens of radio interviews and speaking engagements and just kind of sharing this special gift. And then I won it 3 more times. And so I competed, I think, around 11 times total, came in second a few times. And the competition is pretty fierce among whistlers. They're generally nice people. No one is spiking my chapstick, to try to.
Generally nice people, but with a killer instinct. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly it. Like I went there to win, but if I didn't, I'm not going to be grumpy. I'm going to praise the winner. And so then I gave a TEDx talk on it, and the point of the talk was everyone has a simple gift. Mine happens to be whistling. You're a teacher and speaker and motivator. But everyone has a gift. And so my philosophy is, don't try to change the world, just develop your gift and worry about the person literally next to you. Like yesterday, I was on my way to a meeting and a homeless man came up to me and said, can you help me? And I didn't want to ignore him. So I gave him a gift card to Starbucks, which I actually learned from one of the billionaires that's in the other book. He hands out gift cards to homeless people so he doesn't ignore them. I mean, he gives tens of millions of dollars to homeless shelters, right, but the individual humans he gives something to. And I'm so, like, my philosophy of life is that life is short. We have gifts. We must develop them. We must share them. And, it doesn't matter if it's the homeless person or the person in the Oval Office. You can share your gifts with them and create a connection, even if it's fleeting, because that is really what makes life special. It's the journey. Every day is the journey. Yes, we do care about the destination, but if you fritter away the journey, then you have missed out.
Yeah. Wow. So you're whistling. Are you? How much time do you spend doing that? Or do you just do it naturally all the time?
Yeah, I do it all the time. Well, not at home. My wife finds it kind of annoying. So
I'm so glad to hear that. Because it's like, I think I'm kind of funny. And, my wife just like, no, and I'm like, hey,
I bet you are funny, but
yeah. Hey, people laughed, and it's like, yeah, you're the 4-time international whistling champion. It's like, Chris, you're annoying me. Chris, could you keep it down?
So when I have to whistle happy birthday for people when I'm home. I go in the basement, so she doesn't have to hear it. So I practice usually at least an hour a day because, as I noted, lips are very complex kind of musculature to be able to create the proper pucker. And if you're not in shape, then you can't get the right shape itself, and you can't sustain the shape. Because I've whistled for hours after hour, and then I did this Mozart's oboe concerto with the symphony orchestra. That's 22 minutes of straight whistling. So yeah, it's crazy. You've never heard that?
No, I haven't heard it. And so I want a sample of all different kinds. Give us a little bit of the oboe concerto.
Okay. So I
don't know how anybody would do that on the oboe, much less with their mouth. That sounds.
That's Mozart. So here's some Glenn Miller. This is In the Mood. Anyway, that goes on and on and on. Then Happy Birthday is that's the intro. And I will find out your birthday, Andy, and whistle the rest of it on your birthday.
Okay.
And then there's a great song, The A Train by Duke Ellington. And you name it. I can do Beethoven and just all sorts of stuff. I
got a challenge.
You'll appreciate. I've whistled at funerals, weddings, and even a bar mitzvah. So, yeah.
What did they have you whistle at a funeral?
It was called On Eagle's Wings. It's a very, very beautiful song. And here, this is like one of the funniest stories in my other book. So my mother-in-law, this is for her aunt passed away at like 90. So she said, "Will you whistle On Eagle's Wings at the wedding?" And I said, "Of course."
So I'm up at the funeral.
Yeah. Pardon me, at the funeral. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So I'm up in the choir loft, and so that song has 4 verses to it. Now, of course, each verse is different in terms of the words, but the music is the same. So I do the first verse and I start doing the second verse. And then I think she quickly realizes we don't want all 4 verses. It will just sound the same. So she literally turns around in the congregation and goes like after the second verse. So I brought the eagle in for a landing and after 2 verses. So that was pretty funny. Wow. And then, I've done, I even whistled at a wedding that Bill Gates was at. And then after the wedding, he came up to me and said, "Do you have a day job?" I said, "Yes, whistling doesn't pay very well." And he's like, "Mm-hmm." And he just walks away.
Oh, golly.
So I've whistled in the Oval Office for George W. Bush, and the happy birthday whistles really make me bring me great joy. It's this whole notion of, can you think of someone other than yourself? I mean, we have to take care of ourselves as individuals, of course, but if your life is generally going well, you really should spend a lot more time thinking about other people and seeing how you can make their lives better. And I routinely, since I've been whistling Happy Birthday for 30 years, like there are some people on the list, I call it, that I've whistled to for 30 straight years. And they now say to me, this is the best part of my birthday.
Wow.
And if you didn't whistle it, like, they would be crushed. And I like, this is a big responsibility now. I have to keep up the serenades, which I love doing. But
now, what is the name of the whistle book?
so that book is called Find Your Whistle. Actually, I have it over here. So this one's called Find Your Whistle, Simple Gifts, Touch Hearts, and Change Lives. Again, it's like, think small, don't think big, because no one can really change the world. Like, even the president can't really change the world. So that, they're both on Amazon, and each of the books is very story driven. Right. They're stories to make a point. And like you, I love to tell stories and to kind of hook the reader, to make them smile, make them cry, make them happy, inspire them. And, whether it's to find your gift or to be your best, stories are the best way to do it, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Man, thank you so much for spending time with us today. The book, everybody, 4 Billionaires and a Parking Attendant, that's just a must. You need to get this book. This is, I've read enough in it to know I'm going to read it all. And so I'm very excited that you were with us today, Chris. Thanks for the whistling bonus. And we need to get that book too. Are you going to send me one, or do I need to go on Amazon and get it?
I'll happily send you one.
A little pressure here.
And then when's your birthday? Or you could tell me later. Okay.
It's May 22nd.
All right, May 22nd. All right. So
got a while to wait. Just stay safe. Good. Keep those lips in shape. Got all the way to May 22nd to get there.
I whacked the thing. Sorry about that. I got my chapstick. I'm going to keep my lips safe. Yes.
There you go. All right. Hey, thank you so much for being with us, buddy. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Take care.
I'm Andy Andrews, the professional noticer, harnessing common sense and wisdom to plow through challenges all the way to an answer for you. And I think that'll do it for this week. Get us out of here, Matthew. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to the boys and girls who aspire to become ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of another episode of The Professional Noticer. In a world where common sense has become a superpower, I'm harnessing the tiny bit of mental energy I have for you, seeking wisdom, making observations, and endeavoring to answer tough questions in a way that will empower your family and your business. I'm Andy Andrews. Until next week, goodbye. This episode of The Professional Noticer was produced by Matt Limper. The Noticer theme written and performed by Sugarcane Jane. Blaze Orange for the cast and crew provided by Twinkle and Smoke of Beverly Hills. Additional financial consideration provided by PortableFireplace.com. Have you ever spent a night alone in a cold, impersonal hotel room? Perhaps your office lacks that homey touch. You need a portable fireplace from PortableFireplace.com. Packed in an easy-to-carry canvas bag, your portable fireplace is wholly constructed by foldable antique asbestos. Wherever you are, simply unzip the canvas bag and remove the folded portable fireplace. Unfold the asbestos squares and lock them into place with the stainless latch system. All that's left to do now is load your portable fireplace with flammable materials and set it all on fire. Soon, you'll be having a business meeting by firelight or roasting marshmallows at the Marriott. Order now and receive a free bottle of TSA-approved lighter fluid. That's PortableFireplace.com.